Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 6, part 5 as of recording right now. As you can see, it doesn't have a thumbnail or anything, and I didn't release it yet. But this is building upon part 5. So if you missed out, we talked about forms and how to have an interface to now get data from our users besides just a query string or a JSON and an API call. Alright, so I showed off the very basics of making a form and getting the data that way. And I created a new route with just a regular slash. And then I said if the method was post, that we would grab the username from the form we created, and we would just print that out and re-render index.html. So we're just going to use this HTML. We're going to switch up the form a little bit. We're going to make it look a little bit nicer, and I'm going to use Bootstrap. If you don't know what Bootstrap is, it's basically predefined CSS that makes our lives as programmers easier, because I kind of hate I haven't mastered the art form that is CSS, and I kind of hate it. So Bootstrap helps me out a lot. And I just went to their website here, and we can just copy and paste this link to obtain Bootstrap. So I'm just going to put it here in the head, and we now have the ability to use the different classes in Bootstrap. And let me show you what a form class looks like. This is the form. So we use special classes that they have here, like the form group, and then for the input we have form control, and we can build upon this example right here. This is what it'll look like. So it'd be really nice. You can see that it looks cleaner than if you saw the last video what it looked then. Okay, so I'm going to have this in my other screen, but you can feel free to pull that up on your end too, and we can go through this together. I'm going to keep the form the same. The label is actually, all of this is going to be in a div, and that's going to be called form group for the class. So we'll put div class form group. Okay, and I'm basically just going to cut this Control X and paste it right there. Okay, and then the label, we actually don't need to put anything in that, but for the input, we put form control. Whoops, class form control. And the button also has a class, and actually uses a few classes. It's going to be button, and then space button primary. You can make it different colors. I think warning is one. That might be red, if I'm correct. You can look at all of the different buttons, but typically with submit, it uses the blue button. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that and just see how that looks now. Whoa, that's crazy. What the hell? We're gonna kill that, because I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Okay. So now if we do Python API, I'll hit tab to auto-complete it. Maybe? Oh no, we gotta go to the Python directory. Now we can do Python API demo, and I'll just hit tab and it'll autofill it. And now we can run this and see what that looks like. So we're starting to look a little bit better. I think I zoomed in a bit. Yeah, let's reset that back. Please enter a username. And then we have this that puts a highlight around it as we click into it, and a submit button as well. So already that's looking better. Okay, now I'm going to make this a little bit less wide, and I'm going to change the content of this label, and I'm also going to change the name of the input field, right? Because that's what we associate with it in the backend. So let's go ahead and change the name, and this is now going to be called like game name. Please enter a name of a video game. And then we can have, whoops, basically I'm just going to copy this part and paste it. And actually we're going to put the button under the div. Okay. And then instead of please enter name for a video game, of the console. And then instead of name, or game name, it's going to be console. And I Save that. Let's see if that looks any better. Cool. It does. And the button isn't right up against it. That's why I moved it out of the div. So another thing we want to do probably is to just make this a little less wide. And I might just put this in a container. So there's a class in Bootstrap. Let's see how this looks. Container. And then we'll just cut and paste all of this in that. See if that makes it look any better. Yeah, that does. That does make it look a lot better. It's not centered, or not centered, but it's not right up against the left side. Okay. So now we have please enter name of a video game, please enter a name of a console. So that's basically all we have to do for the front end. At least I think so. Let's go ahead back into the back end. And now instead of username, we have game name. All right. And the variable name is going to be called name, just like I did below. And then console is going to be request.form. And this one is going to just be named console because that's what we named it in the HTML, right? And this is going to be console for the for. Yeah, we named it console. Okay. All right, so what I'm basically just going to do is copy at least the connection and the cursor. And we might as well just copy the SQL because it's basically the same. So it's not the get that we want to copy, it's the post. So let's go ahead and copy up into the return. And thinking about it now, we don't need the return because we're actually returning the rendered template. Okay. And we name these the same console and name, so we're good there. And we'll take away this return all good, and we'll just render the template again. Make sense? So we pretty much just stole all the code that we wrote in the /API, and now we're using it for the interface part. Okay, so unindent does not. Okay, is that better? Let's go ahead and run it again. I think I did something wrong with the indentation. Okay. So now I have my form right here, and then I'm going to pull up the DB browser, and then we can connect to that database. Cool. So here's the games database, or games table that we created way back. And if you guys remember, these are all the games that I added with the API calls. So now, if I wanted to, let's go ahead and enter a new game. What should I do? Forza? I don't think we did that one yet. And that one is Xbox. So let's go ahead and submit. And now if we look, Xbox, Forza, and it has an auto-incremented ID that we set up when we created this table. Awesome. So now we have a little bit of a user interface besides just, you know, making an API call. Of course, that's still going to work if we chose to do that. If I did /API and then did a query string, or if I was using Postman and used JSON. For the other API call, which was save, we could do it that way, but now we have a nice little user interface with a form that users can now enter their data, and then we put it into our SQLite database. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video. I don't know how quick it really was, but I think we are going to build upon this, maybe make a little bit of a video game website. That's what I'm leaning towards with Flask and HTML, and I don't know if we'll stick with SQLite or if we'll use a MySQL database. We might set that up instead. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, hope you guys are excited about that. I'm excited to build out a full-fledged website with a database and, you know, a backend, and I think it'll be quite fun. But I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video.